Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our sports podcast. Big Sam Nephews and Nathan Marlow is here with us also. He's also a guest too.
What up, Nate?
Oh, so anyway, we are on today with this spin around the bucket, talking about sports. I just found out that Alabama, I couldn't watch that game because I kind of had a feeling that Alabama was going to get knocked off. They got knocked off a little bit. I'm not sure the score. There was a lot of offense in it, though. But I guess the question is now: do you drop Alabama down to 5? Because they're 3 now, and with a loss, do you drop down to 5 or beyond 5?
That's a good question. Anytime something is voted on, it is determined by voter sentiment. Number 2, I think that rankings aren't as important as they once were because of the playoff system. And how many teams are in the playoffs? Was it 8?
Now it is. They made it more.
So it's 8?
Now it will be 8, yeah.
This year?
Yeah, it started to be 8.
What was it, 4?
It was 4.
It was 4. It was 4.
Yeah.
It's 8 now.
But they upped it.
Finish in the top 8.
That's all that matters.
So as long as the Trojans are in the mix, I'm good.
Well, I think karma plays a big part in this too, because the coach from Alabama spotted off, earlier this year about told a lie on Deion Sanders and the Jackson State football team.
Right.
And that young man, he spoke up. He told the truth. He said, "Man, if I'm getting paid, which is not a problem now," he said, why is my parents getting?" Supposedly Nick Saban said that the boy got $1 million.
I saw that.
No, he didn't get it.
What? Yeah, but here's the thing. That doesn't even matter because you can get a $1 million. Shador Sanders has $1 million deal.
Yeah,
for NIL.
Right.
So he's the top cornerback in the nation. This kid is the best cornerback. Like I watched him play a couple times. I was like, whoa.
Quarterback.
No. I'm talking about.
You mean the Parker kid?
Yeah, from Collins Hill.
Yeah.
Like I watched him play last year. I was like, holy smokes! Like this kid can catch. He plays wide receiver. He can run. He can catch. He's physical, like really physical.
He's
like
bad.
He's a bad boy. He's a bad boy for real.
But anyway, it's karma because Nick Saban told a lie on basically told a lie on Texas A&M too. But he went after Deion Sanders. But you think Deion Sanders said Deion Sanders is pissing off a lot of people, but it's okay because I believe in what he says. I believe him, and he's a good coach. I think what's happening with Deion is that Deion is proving that he said it best. He said, "You know what? The guys that are getting these players, these number 1 players, these top 5 players, they're not the recruiters. They're not white. They're African American guys go in there and pull those guys out of there. That's who's getting them. And then what happens is, I tell you, I know the process. What happens is the coach comes in and talks them up. But to lay the groundwork, the brother comes in and has to lay the groundwork.
Mm.
And so you see it now because you look at Tennessee. That quarterback is going to be in the running for the Heisman Trophy. He'll be number 2. Stroud will be number 1 from Ohio State, and rightfully so. He'll probably win it. And then there's another guy from Tennessee. He'll be number 2. He'll be in the running for it. But this guy, I'll tell you what. From what I saw, Tennessee, they match up very well, defensively and offensively too. And so I just think sometimes I think Alabama's coach saw this coming. He had to see it coming because you're not going to get all the number ones. And if you get them all, and then how many guys you know and put them on layaway? How many guys you know that go to Alabama and they've been there? The only thing that's great about Alabama is you will graduate because they put you on layaway. What I like to call layaway. You know, you be there for, you end up being there for 5 years. You know,
Right. Well, you know what makes me happiest about two things. What makes me happiest about that is that I see an end to what I think was just pure abuse, and abuse that they had the court systems backing up. Like these, you can't, nobody's ready to go to the NFL at 18. I mean, it's just, it's a man's league, right? So these guys have to, I say, years minimum. But yeah, I'm not even a fan of, okay, because you're part of what you're doing down there is you're beefing up, bulking up, and learning schemes, right? All right. So, you know, the court system's even backed up, well, you know, and they said it'll ruin the integrity of the game. Well, some of these guys were going to school for 4 years and could barely read and write. I mean, not now, but, you know, 30, 40 years ago, that happened. They were. San Diego. But, you know, so they weren't really worried about education. They wanted to make all these tens, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars at the expense of athletes that weren't getting any of the money. That's un-American. This is an 18-year-old grown. You're forcing him basically to perform for free. I'm not going to call it free, but it was certainly not so great. It's
a form of slavery. It's slaves that get paid.
Well, you use
that could be another subject for another day.
You know, you get your foot chopped off if you ran. Right. Sure. I won't even about that, but. So yeah, I'm seeing the changing of the guard. So that leads me to my second question: should Reggie Bush get his Heisman back?
And I posed that question many a time. I spoke with a woman at the ballpark, big avid baseball fan and whatnot. And then I said just in conversation, I said, "Do you think Reggie Bush should get his Heisman Trophy back?" And she agreed with me. She said, she was a Caucasian woman. She said, yes, he should get his Heisman Trophy back. I said, because, you know, the NIL is you know, they're going to have to, eventually they're going to have to sort of govern this a little bit and tweak it. But, you know, they know that they were wrong because they were not paying these people. They should pay. Now, Deion Sanders' son he's got a contract with Gatorade, got a contract with Tom Brady's organization, and plus he's got a situation going with Michael Strahan's got a business, and he's also involved in that too. So
does Deion,
you know, Shadur Sanders, and I think about it. You think about it, man, looking at this, I don't know what the final score was, but Jackson State shut out Bethune-Cookman. It was 30-0 when I went to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, clearly, Shadur's not going to he's not going to win the Heisman, but I get it what Gian is saying is that he should at least be in the running. He should be in New York City sitting there with everybody else, you know. Just like the quarterback from Tennessee. That boy is nasty. He's nasty, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I think what happens is now, you know, the people keep saying we can't, you know, the people of color cannot play quarterback. Well, that myth is gone. You can, because, you know, and it's going to be more black quarterbacks coming in the league. You watch, because I can tell you what, the boy from Alabama is going. He's going. He's going to go this year. He's going to the draft. Next year, he's going to go. He'll have his time is gone. He'll say, "Oh, he's too small." Well, you know what? So was who was the quarterback for New Orleans? We used to Brees, same height, right?
Oh, that guy at Alabama was like 5'10" or something.
Yeah, he's but he's lethal, man. That kid can throw.
Yeah. I didn't know. I thought he must be slim or something because he looks longer than that.
Yeah, he is. That's his body
Yeah.
type. But no, he's probably what 5'10" tops. But you know what? Russell Wilson's right around that same height too.
Yeah, I mean, I think guys like Russell Wilson and Drew Brees and your boy from Arizona, who hasn't really proven himself to me all that much.
Oh,
really.
Murray.
Yeah,
he's kind of. I'm the same. I'm like you, Nate.
Man, this dude got the team chastised him because he admitted that instead of preparing for the game for the team they're getting ready to play, he played video games all week, you know. I mean, but I'm talking about. I do think that height benefits a quarterback, right?
Of course.
You know, not saying a guy 5 do it, but I mean, if all was equal and one guy's 5'10", the other guy's, 6'4", I'm going 6'4".
I would take the guy like your boy Buffalo, which by the way, they play Kansas City tomorrow, and that should be an interesting game.
Right. Who's the guy? They're talking big stuff about the guy in Buffalo. What's his name?
Oh shoot, it's drawing a blank on me.
What do you have brain farts for?
I was supposed to be the smart one. Well, I'll tell you in a second.
He's pretty good. I saw him miss a throw a couple.
Josh, I know his first name is Josh.
Right.
Josh Allen. He's on my fantasy team.
You should know that.
Yeah. He's good. Now, nobody's perfect. I saw him miss a throw to a guy in the end zone or just outside the would have sealed the game.
Right.
Ended up losing that game. It's the game. I think they've only lost once this year. It was that game toward the end.
Right.
He blew it. He threw it low.
Yeah, they're the team to beat. Buffalo is. All things given. I mean, NFL. I think Buffalo right now is a team to beat.
I would not be mad if Buffalo won the Super Bowl. They've
never won one.
I know. I would like to see it.
It's about time, because in about a month it's fixing to get raggedy in Buffalo, weather-wise.
Oh yeah.
It's coming.
But it seems like he's from up north anyway. He's used to that weather. So
no, he's not. He's right down. No, Josh.
Where did he play?
No, he went. He played JUCO here in California.
I know, but where'd he go to college? Yes, that's what I'm saying. He's used to that raggedy weather.
Oh, right. Yeah, but he's from right down here in Bakersfield, Fresno area.
I feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, they can prepare and grow accustomed. Also, the way the team is built, those teams in that part of the country have to have. They've got to have some beasts up front who can block for the run. They've got to have probably a bevy of running backs that can take the cold, can take the hits in the cold. Right. When you get hit, when it's cold, it hurts more, right? And right. Can hold on to the ball, right? You have to go for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, the passing game when the conditions become like that, the passing game becomes a little less important, especially the deep passing game, because it's almost impossible to do.
Because it's all about the run.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, and this guy doesn't get any credit at all. Leslie Frazier, #1 defense, Buffalo.
Yep.
Coordinator is Leslie Frazier. Where'd he come from? Minnesota. He was the head coach for Minnesota at one time, and they fired him. But
I remember that.
It probably was not, and probably head coaching. Sometimes, if you're the head coach, sometimes that's not your forte in life. But sometimes, if you like or a coordinator, like an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator, that's your ticket.
Mm.
And I think in Leslie Frazier's case, that's his ticket.
I know people that nurses who prefer nursing to becoming physicians because nursing is more hands-on, as an example.
What's up with
Yeah.
baseball? I'm not gonna lie.
The Braves lost. The Braves
What?
lost. Yeah, they lost. Yeah, they're out of the series. The Mets are done.
I'm gonna tell you.
I don't know about New York, man.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I brought my equipment into my room, and I'm watching the game through the middle of my ring light. Houston and Seattle are tied, no score, bottom of the 15th. It's a classic.
Yeah, that's the series. That's the best series, to be honest.
Now Houston's up 2-0, but they stole one, so it kind of should be 1-1.
I mean, they always steal. They steal signs. They steal.
But see now, in defense of Dusty was not with that team at all.
Wasn't. Oh, he wouldn't. That wouldn't happen now. He'd probably throw somebody off the team right in the middle of the World Series if Dusty wouldn't put up with that. That Dusty is no different. If you can, any way you can gain an advantage and cheat and steal signs without equipment, yeah, he'd be first.
Of course.
He teach the class. Dusty, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
But it's just my hope.
You probably on
that Houston can somewhere or another slither into the playoffs and go, and actually win the World Series because Dusty itself has been with his 4th team: Cubs, Giants, Cubs, Reds, and now Houston. Mm-hmm. And it's 4 different clubs. And of course, you don't get as many wins as he's had unless you're around, you're winning, And
mm-hmm.
I just think that, but he'll be in the Hall of Fame one way or the other. He'll make the Hall of Fame because of the wins. He's number 10 on the list as far as the coaches that have the most wins. So
right,
just
he's
with
good.
that.
He's a good baseball man.
Oh yeah, he is. He's a wonderful baseball man, and I just hope that he can win that one World Series, man, and then get the monkeys off his back.
Mm.
Kind of like Steve Young,
Right. Dusty
won.
He was here in Sacramento during high school. Yep. And I guess I can tell this story now, sort of in honor of a young lady we just lost. You may have known, well, you know Donnie and the Pitts, right? Right. Well, Debbie. Actually, Debbie's real name was Yvette or Yvetta, right? Mm-hmm. But nobody called her that when we were kids. She was Debbie. And man, boy, she was easy to look at. She was 17, I was 12. I had a crush on her. I knew I had no chance, but that didn't stop the crush, right? Well, Chip told me about a time that Debbie went to a party. She was going to a party, and it was for Dusty, who had just been drafted, right? Mm-hmm. And the guy that kind of following around the party, didn't get inappropriate or anything, but was kind of happened to be in the same space as she was in every time she changed places. And he just introduced himself as Dusty. Well, later she found that it was a party for Dusty Baker, who got drafted, right? Right. We lost Debbie a couple of weeks ago. Oh, just to yeah. Well, that's like the 4th one of the Pitts, a legendary Sacramento family, tremendous athletes in some cases, right? Donnie and Chip for sure, probably some more, but it's like the 4th, maybe 5th one of them that, kind of went out, and their 50s and 60s instead of their, 70s or 80s or 90s or something, Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, so that's sort of my tie into, a story I remember about Dusty and Debbie.
Interesting. Good to know, though. Good to know. Yeah, but because they're always, the sports gurus are gonna always get up and they're gonna always throw this crap in about this guy and that guy. And well, he never won a World Series, but he went to a World Series with the Dodgers. I mean, not the Dodgers. He played in a World Series with the Dodgers.
Right.
He coached the Giants in the World Series.
They won that.
And then they did the same thing with the Cubs. They got to the World Series. Didn't get to the World Series with the Reds. But then when he got to Houston, of course, he's now back in the world, heading towards the World Series again.
That team needed stabilizing. In other words, they were the scourge of baseball, and he went in and cleaned it up. And it's not so talked about anymore. They're doing it the right way. They lost some talent. They lost that guy that went to Toronto,
and the guy that went to the Twins, the shortstop.
Yeah, Correa. They lost. That's some major talent, but they replaced them, and Dusty kept everything stable, right? Biorhythms and chemistry and all that really do matter, and a lot of that has to do with leadership.
Right.
Gotten them right back there.
Now, what do you think about this this Draymond Green situation at Golden State?
Still pissed about that. That was Will Smith of basketball.
And Jordan Poole was Chris Rock. Hey, Jordan Poole just got $140 million extension.
He what?
He just got $140 million contract extension. It was already coming up though. It was already coming up. They just had to get the numbers right.
How many years?
4 years. 4 years, 140.
Wow.
So
$5 million a year. Man. Not bad. So I'm guessing he's not terribly bad. No, but I'm pissed off about there are other ways to solve problems, okay? And this just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And I realize that when people judge guys like us, probably half of society judges guys like us, they use a different lens, right?
Of course.
Okay, fighting the NBA is violent. Fighting the National Hockey League is, that's the way it is. They're really trying. That's right.
Right.
But it's, definitely out of line. So was Will. I big respect.
Well, Chris Rock is suing Will Smith.
He should.
He should sue Jada Pinkett. She's the one who instigated it all.
Well, in my, and I can't. There's nothing I can say that I can ever defend Jada Pinkett because, like I said, I don't know her at all. But I can just say that if she did what she did, then. But again, you're kind of responsible for your own actions, right? That's what they say.
Right. I think the situation was just bad. It was just bad on all parts.
All the way around. Even the Draymond Green situation was like, I don't know, he might have been, but probably that boy was talking trash to him.
Yeah. So what Steph and them was saying, Steph and Clay, they were like, yeah, Jordan came into camp just talking crap to everybody.
Right.
And that's the bad thing. We don't know what was said. We just see a punch. You know what I'm saying? We just see that Draymond just went off on him. Which, right or wrong or indifferent, I mean, it happens. But like we said last week, it's just something that it looks worse than probably what it is. We don't know because we don't know what was said. We don't know what context. We're just running with it. You know what I'm saying?
But people they're mad because the story leaked. Well, whose fault is that?
Whoever's in the ordinance, yeah. I think the ordinance
hadn't assaulted him, there wouldn't be a story.
Right.
And that's my point.
I mean, they probably just, like everybody else, they probably just wanted it left in-house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now
it did, and it didn't. And some people they saw what it was. But the problem is, and an alignment for the Detroit Lions at its best, how come people aren't talking about Brett Favre?
Oh no, we're not gonna talk about Brett Favre.
Right.
It's a great white hype. It's like if Tom Brady does something stupid, then it's like, oh yeah, but he won 7 Super Bowls and he's the greatest. He probably is, but you did something stupid.
Yeah.
So
there's a double standard. Sure.
There is a double standard for everything in every situation when it comes to them and us.
It's almost, it's like, to me, the most egregious thing and the worst thing that our former president ever did was to reinvigorate KKK types and supremacist types and Proud Boys. And
they all came out the woodwork.
Great thing. And, you know, all of a sudden, young people that look something like us began, or, well, it never really stopped, but it became almost fashionable to basically once a week or certainly 2 or 3 times a month for a police officer to shoot and kill somebody with no weapon. You know, and it was always for the same reason. I feared for my life, right? I support the cops. I don't want to defund the police. I support good cops. If we need cops, I trust cops more than I trust some crook, you know, that's out to do me in or take my money and might take my life or harm me, taking my money or whatever, you know. But there are some bad people that made it onto the forces. And so, you know, not to digress too much.
Go ahead and digress, Nate.
Yeah, it's a whole different topic, whole nother topic. You know, I mean, I
different topic for a different day.
Honestly, yeah, I mean, I've lived all over the world. You know that, Sam. And I just, sometimes I just lose interest. I love America. I'm American. I'm American. You know, I'm an American of African descent, but I'm an American, plain and simple, period, right? I love this country. This is my home. But some things are just past being pissed off. It's like, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And it just, you know, it's like my life or lives of people that look like me don't matter. And it's just, you know, you reason, logic, none of that stuff matters. If you explain, well, how do you shoot somebody? I'm going way off the original track now, without a weapon. And the same thing happened last week and 2 weeks before that, by people that are they're paid to protect us, you know. So my thing is, and I'll say this and we get back to sports. If the situation turned around and there was an officer who looked something like me that once a week or 2 or 3 times a month shot and killed an unarmed, you know, kid who didn't look like me, I'm trying to be polite here because I don't advocate that kind of thinking or certainly not that kind of speech or action. I just wonder if the half of society that kind of dismisses it, says, well, you know, he kind of should have shot him because he was resisting or maybe he ran away or something like that. I just wonder if the responses would be so serene. I kind of doubt it, but I don't know.
No, of course not.
Because cops that look like shoot unarmed people. We'll never know, thankfully.
Well, with that being said, it's just kind of funny, you know, because how they just don't, you know, and the handwriting's on the wall. And of course, you know, Brett Favre comes out and says that the media is distilling the truth that he's saying. But, you know, you're telling a lie, Brett. You're a liar. You can't be trusted either, you know? And of course, you stole money. I didn't know. You must have known something because you stole all those texts. And the texts don't lie. You said it. You texted. And it's just, but probably what's going to happen, they'll probably put them on probation or something, and they'll have to maybe pay the money back or whatever, you know. But other than that, I don't think anything major is going to happen with him because there's, you know, in Mississippi, they've already convicted. They convicted 2 people behind this situation. That the woman's got she's gotten convicted. The other guy that was, I think he might have been the treasurer of Mississippi. He is not. He hasn't been convicted yet, but he's about to get convicted. But he's actually. So Brett Favre's not out of trouble, is what I'm saying, because we don't know if this guy is going to flip and just tell the whole story and everything. He probably will, because they made a deal with him, you know. But my point is that, you know, they kind of play off that, oh, you know, Brett was a gunslinger and all that other stuff. We don't care about that. Brett's a thief is what he is now. You don't want to use your own money, Brett? No, of course not. Of course not.
Hey, I wanted to, one, we got 10 minutes, and two,
Okay.
I just wanted to touch on one thing. I was watching All the Smoke, and they had Bonzi Wells on there. So Bonzi Wells, he's coaching at the D2 HBCU, and he, you know, started giving him and Rasheed Wallace have been doing real big things just behind the scenes.
Right.
Right. And so, you know, and it goes back to what you were saying, Nate, was like, you know, we just see things, you know, we get the, you know, everything is through another lens. And so he was talking about how his career was like, oh, and if you remember, they used to call them the Portland Jailblazers, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so none of them ever went to jail. But I'm like, how do you have this stigma of being a thug, of being all these things, and you guys don't do nothing but stay in the community and do what you're supposed to do as human beings and people?
Right.
And so he talked about like how that went through his whole career. And I kind of remember that was like, yeah, Bonzi Wells was like, oh yeah, well, you know, he's gangster, he's a thug. And I'm like, these guys never got in trouble. Like, how does this happen? You know, how does being, you know, they see us through the lens, the media does, and you're tagged forever. I mean, that's through a whole 12-year career that he got tagged. And
but
basically, after
year
10, he got kicked out the league.
Who was in the media? The media is a little weasel little guy. Guy with glasses, portly, never like Windhorst, right? Guy like Windhorst is the NBA. Right. That's my whole situation. Say no more. Oh, well, Windhorst has got the inside track on it. Yeah, no. My boy Broussard.
I think to a bigger issue, because I don't hate anybody, you know, based on what they look like, or I don't think that all of one people are racist or anything like that. But I still think there's a guy named Philip Scott that has a podcast that's growing in leaps and bounds in popularity. He's down in Texas, I think Houston or something like that. And Philip Scott advocates something that Sam, you know, history, you know, like my parents and your parents would talk about this kind of thing all the time. We were kids, you know, that, you know, you kind of have to, you got to be responsible for yourselves. You have to establish your own, this kind of thing. Because I honestly, look, I love America, but I really do not believe that we will ever be judged fairly. It's been 400 years, you know? Nope. So we complain about it, talk about it, be mad about it. And we've been mad about it and talking about it, complaining about it for, 400 years quietly, but, you know, 100 years more sort of spoken out loud. And it hasn't really changed very, very slowly, right? So I think the thing is, you know, everything that
Nate, not to cut you, I guess I am cutting you off. We're 2 generations removed from slavery. Like my great grandmother was a slave.
Okay.
Your great grandmother was a slave. That's 2 generations removed.
Yeah.
2 generations removed.
I knew her when I was
right.
He wasn't her mother.
You know, but my point is that we weren't that far removed, even though people say, well, what's it? You know, Okay,
It was 150 years ago.
right, and that's my point is that kind of get sort of caught up in this situation, thinking about that. But you just kind of gotta, um, do the right thing. And sometimes even doing the right thing is not the not the cure all either. But just kind of live your life the best you can and do what's right. And and I think that's what you have to do. You have to do that because you don't really want to.
I mean, I think some of the stuff is just where we're at the political system where after Reconstruction, what I'm saying, that was where we were thriving. We had our own, we had everything. And, so for those Reconstruction years, that was the only time that we were free. We were free to do what we wanted.
Right.
We were free to have our own land. We were free to do everything. And so they, the powers that be seen it coming where they were like, wait, they're getting into Congress. They're going to be able to make laws. They're going to be able to policy. They're going to be able to make money. They're going to be able to do all the American things that's only for us. So that's when we came into, the Jim Crow era or the KKK era, was because it was, I mean, if you think about it, when they made the Birth of a Nation movie, that was when it turned around.
Right.
So you're talking about for those, Reconstruction was 25. So you're talking about for 25 years that we were able to amass wealth. We were able to amass a good amount of land, amass a lot of different things, and we didn't have to rely on the government. When they saw it coming, they was like, wait, hold on. And so that was the downfall, because we can never, all the laws that they put in, we can't get that back.
No.
We could play the game as much as possible, but you could always move the goalpost. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, you think about it. There in Tulsa, Oklahoma, they had the Black Wall Street. What happened with that? It got destroyed. Who destroyed it? Strangely enough, they said, "Well, I don't know how I got bombed." I'm sure somebody of color didn't do that.
Yeah, like you took a whole airplane and bombed them. A whole airplane.
Just mad.
Or gas. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think what I, and it's just my own opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I just think they're jealous of us for one. They're mad, and they get mad. But you know what? You look at all those people in their stands in the football games, and I got to go back to sports. You look at the top quarterbacks; they're all of color.
Right. Right.
The boy Stroud, Ohio State, #1 quarterback in the country. He's probably going to win the Heisman. But that boy I'll tell you what, that boy from Tennessee is no joke.
Oh yeah, it's the truth. I kind of think this Heisman might be like how when Steve McNair, when he was playing at Alcorn State down here,
right?
And when you just couldn't deny him. You just could not deny his talent. You get it, like he's doing things that the white kids couldn't do. He could run, he could throw. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I think, and that goes back to the earlier conversation about the HBCUs, about how they're starting to get some top players. They're gonna have some infighting, within, you see what happened with Deion Sanders and the coach from Grambling. I mean, there's going to be some infighting.
Well, see, that was that whole situation was, he took it up way too far.
Well, yeah, no, Yeah, it was way too far. I mean, that situation, but that comes from being jealous. But people don't
Right,
understand what he's really trying to do.
right.
He's really trying to get, if you don't have a black athlete at Alabama, there's no Alabama.
No,
If you don't have a black athlete at Tennessee,
That's
there's no
very
Tennessee.
Bryant.
Exactly. You don't have a black athlete at University of Southern California, there's no USC. Some of
but
the
you think about it.
greatest
You got
football players
US.
came from
You
HBCU.
got USC black quarterback, UCLA
Right.
black quarterback, right? Then you also got you go even further. The quarterback that used to be at Indiana is now at Washington State.
Right.
I think it's Pittman or something like that.
Yeah. Can you go give me some more sauce? Mild.
Yeah,
All
but
right,
anyway, it just you can. I'm not saying that, but the tide is turning slowly but surely.
yeah.
Tide's turning.
I kind of I talked to a lot of people, and I'm kind of sitting here like I want the HBCUs, the D1s. I want them to do well because I want I think in like 4 years, maybe 3 to 4 years, I think Dion he's gonna start playing the big time schools because he said he was like we're not ready yet. But
No,
I think once
Facing
he
that,
gets those linemen,
right.
it's
that's
over.
the key.
It's over.
Yep.
It's
And,
over.
and he's starting to get them.
Oh yeah. Oh
He's
yeah.
starting to get them. He's actually got some of them already.
Yeah, he got some hogs, but once he gets those guys that where you start looking at Jackson, FAMU always has a good team. Tennessee State always has a good team. Uh, who
There was a
else?
time scrambling between Grambling and Southern. Man, they would have. I mean, their team would get drafted first 2 or 3 rounds, half their team
Right,
anyway.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Those. I think once he gets those, then because people don't want to play him, but he's like, hey man, I'm gonna get paid and I'm gonna beat you. And I think that's what people don't like about Deion Sanders because like you said, I watch his interviews. He's like, no, they know I'm coming. He goes, they know
Oh
we're
yeah.
coming for him.
Oh yeah,
And I
for
was like,
sure.
that's all they need. Like, get the kid, because they always get mad. Oh my God, how'd you get the number one kid? Well, we pay, we don't have to pay the kid. Y'all got to pay
Oh,
the kid.
Mhm.
Y'all the ones who got to pay the kids. We
and
don't have to
that's
pay the kids.
and going back to Nick Saban, karma catches up
Exactly.
with you because see, you make that bold statement about Texas A&M, you make that bold statement about Deion Sanders in Jackson, Mississippi. Come on, Deion didn't make that kind of salary.
Nope.
You gotta go out and pay this kid this, and the kid even said, why is his parents, you know, they got 5 kids living in a 3-bedroom house.
Right. Yeah, they not even. I like I say, I live in Uncle. You know where my apartment was, right? Remember my apartment?
Right,
That's the same area where that kid is from.
right.
So Collins Hill is right up the street from there. So, it's there's two sides of the area. And again, I'm not, that area is always a well-to-do area. But, you could have a parent that, hey man, we're just trying to make it so my kid can get a better education. Remember, Collins Hill is where Maya Moore went to. Maya Moore's from that area.
Right, right.
So, everybody kind of looks at that, but I'm like, yeah, man, like, people are gonna put people in situations where, just like James Wiseman, you see how they did Penny. Oh no, we can't, because Penny they was about to win the national championship.
Oh yeah.
They was like,
And
nah,
they
we can't have that.
and then
We can't have that.
they find some little obscure
Can't have
rule
that.
that's obscure, and then they can't play.
No, my thing is that he helped the boy move in 11th grade. What? Like, hey, I'm a well-off ex-NBA player. I got a lot of money. I love the kids. You know what? I need to help these parents. not helping the kid. I'm helping the parent. But that's wrong. How is that wrong? What do you want them to do?
Well, sports is so hypocritical, period.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we like it, because it's hypocritical.
That's true. That's true. All right,
So-
we got 1 minute.
Okay. Well, I'll wrap this up. I'll see you guys next week, all right?
Next week,
Yeah.
we're on and cracking next week.
Do what?
So we're on and cracking next week.
Okay. Hopefully we'll have
Gerard,
Gerard and Parker will come back too. They're two more pieces to the puzzle. So, but anyway,
there we go.
well, all right, and please subscribe. Please subscribe to this podcast.
Like and subscribe. Make comments. Tell us how good we are.
Right. All right, man. We'll see you guys next week.
Next
All right,
week.
yeah.
All right. Bye-bye.
Later.